We are soldiers once
and young,
and we're proud to be from Texas.
My name is Tone Johnson, and I was born in Marshall, Texas, and we went to Vietnam with the 1st Cav Division.
My name is Joe Arpena. I am from Portalaca, Texas, and I was drafted into the service, into the Army in 1963, and served in Vietnam with the 1st Cav, with the 1st to the 7th Battalion.
My name is Vince Cantu. I'm from Refugio, Texas, and I was drafted along with Joe in 1963, and I served 2 years in the Army to 65, and was sent to Vietnam in 1965.
I was not drafted into, like Joe, some people say, hey, he's crazy, because I was a volunteer. I was an RA, and I still remember my number, RA 186763338. But I was an RA and a regular Army, in other words. I volunteered in the 1st Cav Division.
When we landed at LZ X-Ray, we had no idea that this was going to be the first major battle for an Army unit to take on against the regular North Vietnamese Army, which was well trained just like we were.
But we went in to, when we were called out to go for support, and we didn't know anything about it. Everything was cool. It looks comfortable, and the grass is green, and there's a few little houses there. And where we went in at, and they said, well, all we needed to do was just support. And as we came down, the helicopters, usually the helicopters come in kind of low and to the ground, and anyway. But when we had to come over a small hill, it wasn't a mountain, but a small hill. And when we came over and the helicopter dropped down into the valley, the firing had already broke loose, and we could hear the bullets hitting the chopper. And he said, you might as well get ready to get out. And so we did, and we jumped out.
When the lieutenant colonel went up there to recon the landing zone, he said, there's a company or 2 in there. We can take care of them. So that's why we went into LZ X-Ray, which was Ia Drang Valley. And when I took off to go into the landing zone, I was like Dr. Johnson here. The pilots were told, do not land. Fire's too intense. You won't make it in, and you won't make it out.
And as soon as we hit the ground, the firing got worse for us. And then we traveled about 10 to 20 yards away, and for me that was the end of things, because I was out and from about 2 o'clock to about 8 o'clock, because a big explosion happened, and that was out. I was out. The platoon sergeant was already dead, and so we was just left there. About at that time was 35 of us, and we were all essentially privates, and I was the rankingest private, which is E3 at the time, and I was so I just said, well, let's get together and see if we can set up the mortars and then fire. And when we got all the equipment together, we found out had been destroyed, and so we just started firing back, at the enemy, and then that's when another round went off, and 2 of the guys were killed at that time, and then I was wounded in my legs at that time. And then somebody said, oh gosh, why don't we, call in, the Air Force, drop some napalm. And so they asked for the coordinates, and I told them, I said, just tell them to drop it right where, we are. and we were glad because the enemy was upon us. They were less than 20 yards or away, and they were coming in. But boy, when that napalm hit and came up on their backside, and we were happy. Today I still think about it, and I.
Yeah. I would like everyone to know that being an American is doing what you have to do when your country calls on you to go serve. That's what being an American is.
Oh, I would want them to know that that I served my country well. I was a veteran who was asked to do something for the country, and I did my best, and I would like them to know that.
The Vietnam Monument at State Capitol in Austin, Texas is important to preserve our history.
To me, it's very important to have a monument at the State Capitol because Vietnam was a war. Because when we came home, nobody put out banners, welcome home. Nobody put ribbons around the tree. It was not a war. We couldn't join the VFW. We couldn't join the American Legion because it was a cleanup operation, and it was not a war. But we had a lot of people that died that didn't know that. So this would mean a whole lot for those that have died and for those that are living.